Sundays. Today is August 14th, 2016, and hopefully you are watching live on YouTube. If you're watching from the archive, remember to join us every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube. I almost said Hitbox. I'm still getting used to it myself. There are reminders 12 hours before we go to showtime, so as long as you've got your eyes on your subscription feeds, you'll know that we are going live. So today is part 3 of Tin Star, which for some reason is taking forever on my output to update itself, but whatever. Oh, no, it's not. I simply had the output paused. I'm a professional. So Tin Star is once again a Old West story. In the first episode, we named ourselves as Marshal James Dinglepinger, and we made our way to Preston Springs. In the last episode, we arrived in Preston Springs, got killed immediately, then reloaded and killed that dude. Made a deal with the town mayor / sheriff, who is going to give us a salary to look the other way from town activities. So, as before, those who are watching live are going to be the ones who are directing the story. Whenever we come to a choice in the story, just type 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, however many options there are, and in the chat. We'll wait about a minute, and then we will proceed the story with the majority vote. And TC, who has played this before, advises me that what we are watching now is an in-between chapter section. Our goal is to try to get through chapter 3, but he has also warned me it's long, so we'll see what happens. We'll try our best. And for anyone concerned about my voice, I just woke up from a nap, but hey, it makes for a good reading voice, so enjoy. Preston Springs is a lively place, and thankfully you don't have to arrest anyone today. Maybe not even tomorrow either. Even better, Preston's latest gift has trickled down to your pockets and given them an additional jingle. Wealth very slightly increased. So I suppose we can go buy something with our limited wealth. We can just skip it completely. Or we have 8 places we can shop. If the numbers are too confusing, just shout out the store you want us to visit. Otherwise, type 1 through 8 in the chat now. So the votes are kind of in. Ryu is trying to do a write-in vote where we can go to the nuke store, and apparently Rain and Tink are both on his side. But sadly, there is no nuke store, but the one that did win is to gather up materials for fixing our office. Wood, glass, nails, that's all you need. A building isn't a building if the wind can come screaming on through. A bit of silver readily gets you what you need sent on over. That's cool. Okay. So we have less wealth, obviously. Does it tell us specifically how much we have? No. No, it just says wealth broke. Okay, fair enough. Alright, TC pointed out that because we have no money, we can't go to any stores. I'm gonna go ahead and go to a store anyway, just to see what the option says, just for future reference. Everyone was voting to check out the gunsmith store until TC was pointing out we have no cash. Alright, I just skimmed this. Alright, so probably once we try to buy a gun, he'll probably just deny us. Alright, whatever. Okay, so everyone in Saded is saying let's just skip the window shopping and continue. Oh, is this also a between... This is also a between chapter thing. Okay, so we can, now that we're done shopping, we can do a few other things around the town, although, again, we're broke, so I don't know if we should be going around to saloons and buying drinks, but there are 7 additional options. Please vote in the chat. So TC is in the chat and advises to do all of these because none of them cost any money. And says that they give good information, and if this is going to happen between every chapter, maybe I should make an executive decision and just do them. Because if they're going to work out for us and give us things eventually, then just automatically doing all of them will make it a little smooth, and I don't have to stop every 5 seconds to ask for a vote. So, holy crap, TC's played the game 7 times. Okay, in that case, what I will do is we will go through all of these somewhat quickly. And then without votes, probably. Unless these all have votes too. And then we can get on to Chapter 3. So, be careful with the second one, as Preston might not be happy with us. Oh, that's right. Okay, I'll tell you what. That'll be what I'll do. Or this will be what I'll do. I will leave it up to you guys whether we patrol, since that would be against Preston, and then you guys can decide whether to fight his advice. But then everything else we will do anyway. So, please vote yes or no in the chat. Should we patrol the town? If you say yes, we'll patrol the town anyway, and Preston will be upset. If you say no, then I'll ignore that option, and we'll start with raise a glass at the motherlode. The votes are in, and TC campaigned for the vote yes because it doesn't damage Preston's opinion on us, so we will patrol the town despite Preston's advice. It is called Showing the Badge, a straight-up way to remind people that you are a marshal and out looking after the town. That way, even when you're not about, they remember that you were, and so acting on the up and up. Law, order, and intimidate slightly increase. Alright, we'll just go through the list. The motherlode, the favorite watering hole of prospectors and those who don't mind drinking with them. Sure, the Babylon has style, and the Evening Star has quite the looker for an owner, but when you want to drink and don't mind a little mud on your boots, it is the place to go. It helps that Mother Maddie, owner, bartender, cook, and confidant, tolerates you as she does few others who don't pan for gold. She won't speak about what brought her out here, though, no matter how you ask after it. Apparently, some things in the West stay secret. A great sigh rises up from inside the saloon. There at the far end of the bar, near the sawdust buckets, a portly man stares at a shot glass as if it holds all the secrets of the world. That's Sam Pitcavage, Floyd, the dark-haired bartender, whispers over softly. He's been here since noon. Came glass in hand. I haven't had the heart to kick him out, though. At least not until he drinks it. Oh. Huh, so we do have some choices here. Okay, so how do we handle the situation? Please vote 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the chat. Votes are in and option 1 wins. We just respond, awfully kind of you. Actually, it's house policy, Floyd notes as he runs a hand through his slicked hair. Mother Maddie has a soft spot for tramps and losers like him. Sam there, he's got the worst luck around. Can't find gold, not even in these rivers. Honor slightly increased. Votes are in, and we are going to head over to Sam. You step over and hear yet another one of those epic sighs waft through portly Sam. Up close, he's not quite like all the other prospectors. Heavier in the gut and ragged on the ends. It is the kind of look you see after someone comes into town and stays too long, except that Sam never has a pouch of gold to spend in the first place. Indeed, from the way he's considering that shot glass, he could barely afford to fill it with flat beer. Votes are in and option 1 wins. We're taking the calm way here, apparently. Hello, Sam. Sam startles and nearly spills his drink.
Ugh.
Gall darn it, don't go sneaking up on people like that. Please, Marshal. Votes are in and option 2 wins. We just let him talk. Things ain't been so good for me. It's all gone sideways, and I'm a cart man originally, so you know how that gets. Can't find gold even though there's plenty around. I got the pans, I got the tired back from panning, but then flecks just don't show up. I done sunk my whole livelihood into coming out here to find my own mountain of gold, and I can't even find a pebble of it. Votes are in and option 1 wins. You should ask around then. Maybe you're doing something wrong. Maybe you can work for some of the others until you figure that out. Say, that's a grand idea, Sam says, and slaps his hand on the bar. I'll do just that. Thanks, Marshal. Persuasion slightly increased. Oh, that's nice. We've done a good thing, guys. We are we are lawful good right now. At least for now. Hopefully. Anyway, let's see. With that, he downs his shot of beer and... Who drinks a shot of beer? That's pointless. Oh, someone who's poor. That actually does make sense, the Yakamura. With that, he downs a shot of beer and struts out the swinging doors of the Motherlode Saloon. Next, we'll visit the Babylon. The Babylon caters to the upper crust of the townsfolk, those that don't have to get their hands dirty unless they want. Brass fittings, silver mirrors, and canvases from around the world adorn the interior. Exotic drinks, too, and not just odd-colored whiskey. Cactus wine, authentic honey mead, wheat beer, and a few other specialties from who knows where line the back of the bar. It also serves a grand pepper steak, too, just as good as the one from the Grand Haven Hotel. Mainly that's because they share a kitchen and a cook. Ha ha ha. Oh, nothing to do in there, I suppose, so we'll stop by in at the Evening Star. The Evening Star isn't all that different from the other saloons. Oak bar, pine floor, and lots of bottles of booze. But when the lantern is hung up high in the rafters, that means the Evening Star herself is down and ready to play hostess to thirsty travelers and prospectors. Eve, as she likes to be called, has the oddest of patois? Is that how you pronounce that? Accents? She claims to have been born in Paris, raised in Quebec, and then schooled in New Orleans. Any one of those could be exotic, but rolled up together in a young and beautiful figure adorned by silk and feathers, well, she's a rarity, all right. Headcanon is that she's rarity for My Little Pony. I'm so sorry. That she often talks about building a library is another thing that separates her in a land where making a mark can be a literal thing. Nothing to do in there either. Lounge about the Grand Haven Hotel for a bit. The Grand Haven is, as ever, in grand style. Its carpeting is the best and nearly only... its carpeting is the best and nearly only kind about the color and... man, this guy... Commas, man. Its carpeting is the best, and nearly only kind about, and the color even matches the drapes. From the chatter you hear, they serve a great pepper steak too, and one equal to that of the Babylon, namely because they share the same kitchen and cook. Thank you, writing. Alright, final option here, since we have nothing to do in the Grand Haven Hotel, is to ride down to Elko and see a play on their makeshift stage. You and a dozen others sit down to the tale of the Merry Wives of Windsor, a rowdy Shakespearean comedy. It all begins when fat Sir John Falstaff, I don't know where I was going with that word, comes to town with a nearly empty purse, deciding to fix his finances by courting two very wealthy but rather married women. He writes each an identical letter. However, his servants refuse to play their part in delivering them, and so he casts them out. Each heads to the husband of the wife they were to tend the letters, and, as expected, neither the husbands nor the wives are very much amused by Falstaff's deceit. However, revenge is not in the cards, but rather in the buck basket when the merry wives trick Falstaff into arriving and hiding amongst the dirty, smelly clothing, while the jealous husbands return, intent on finding out if their wives were indeed considering a dalliance with the cunning Falstaff. The basket is unceremoniously taken away and dumped in the river. More hilarity ensues as Falstaff is embarrassed again and again, tricked into donning green robes and playing Herne the Hunter in Windsor Forest to try and woo the two married ladies, only to be burned and pinched by fairies, who are villagers in disguise. At the end, all is revealed, and Falstaff takes things surprisingly well, believing that he did indeed earn what he received. Then they all head back to civilization with the parting line, "Let us everyone go home, and laugh this sport, or buy a country fire, Sir John and all." Persuasion slightly increased. What, because we watched art, and now we are better at arting? Sure, okay. We're gonna move on to bigger things now. Just outside your office, there is a canvas cover that shrouds the supplies you require to fix up the place. Nothing much is happening, at least nothing around these parts that Preston and his deputies can't tend. Votes are in, and option 1 wins, although we have like a 4 or 5 way tie among some of the others, and TC advises that we can do a few of these. So I'm going to go with the majority for the first one, and then we will sort of suss out what we're going to do for the others. Lander County might be sparse, but there are dozens of mining camps, settlements, and boom towns scattered all over. Each of these needs a marshal, if only to be seen for a little while. In most places there are disputes to be settled and statements to be taken. Exhausting work, but absolutely necessary. Law and order increased. And once more we are back here. Okay, so the ties were between options 2, 3, 5, and 7. And I'm going to make an executive decision to fix up my office, because why would buy the supplies before we if we're not going to actually do it? So, I'm going to fix up the office. A stack of fresh boards have been dropped off at your front door one morning. No bill, no note, just a gift out of the blue. Preston's doing, no doubt. You set to work using the materials you purchased, and soon the sturdy little office is a cozy place. Level 2, where the foundation has begun to sink. Just outside your office, there's a... Okay. Alright, so that was option 7, so now we have a tie between 2, 3, and 5. And since Ryu is so eager for us to work with our nukes, pocket nukes, we're going to go ahead and work with our pocket nukes. You start in with a regular regimen. Oh. Votes are in and option 3 wins. We practice with both equally. You trade off firing rounds downrange, near and far. Can't hurt to be good at both. Sharpshooting and gunfighting very slightly increased. Your spare days have been eaten up in full, and now you know that it is time to once again shine up your tin star. All the things you gathered for your office can just stay in the corner for now. You'll get to using that eventually. So, we are done with the interlude. We can check our numbers real quick. Our order is at 66%, honor at 58%, law at 59%, although nobody knows us. Not too horrible in too many of our skills other than legal. Probably because we got a woman drunk and immediately sent her to jail, but then let her out with a warning because we're sociopaths. So, sounds fun. Let's get back to it. After a few days of not getting shot at, you begin to feel acclimated to the town. Come the evening, you walk along the main street and revel in the cool breeze that always seems to stir once the sun has set. A steady clatter of boots up and down the saloon steps almost seems to match snatches of a badly tuned piano from the Motherlode or the strum of a guitar in the Babylon. Cigar smoke roils out of the nearby hotel and matches the sizzle of steak within. That all abruptly hits a sour note as hard-flung insults erupt from inside the Evening Star saloon. Midway between the Motherlode and Babylon, the Evening Star caters to the ordinary townsfolk more than the drifters and prospectors, as it only opens up come late afternoon. Tonight, they have yet to set out their bullseye lanterns which, if local talk is true, came all the way over from a lighthouse in Denmark. Those are the prized possessions of the madam who runs the place, the rarely seen Evening Star herself. Out the front of the saloon lurches a buffalo of a man, whose broad shoulders and frame is shot through with sinewy muscle. His hands are scarred from numerous tiny cuts, as though none of those are particularly deep. The butcher, by the name of Jeff Donner, or so you'd expect. He's getting along in years with a patch of gray along one sideburn, but his dark brown eyes are filled with the baleful wrath of a younger man as he casts a departing glance back into the saloon. As you watch, he all but rips a cool blue tie from the collar of a starched white shirt, his powerful hands clenching as if limbering for a fight you suspect he'll win, if it stays to fists. Votes are in and option 2 wins. Who are you, friend? I'm pissed off at the sleights of tongue that are... Wait, what? Oh, I'm pissed off at the sleights of tongue that are being given to me. That's who I am, he says, as he exhales sharply, as he strives hard to snuff the worst of his rage. I'm also Jeff Donner, butcher. You've probably seen my place when you rode in, Marshal. Well, we did remember him according to the description in the last page, but I guess we can be jerks. Please vote 1 or 2 whether we publicly acknowledge that we remember him. Votes are in, and option 1 barely wins by a single vote. I remember you. Hard to miss them shacks, what with all the cattle about, Donner says, and then casts a bitter glance back to the Evening Star. Marshal, I'm having a devil of a time with the Winthrops. They're spreading rumors about me. This time is cows, and I don't want to get into it. It's disgusting is what it is. If I were a different man, I'd go in there and start snapping necks. God help me, but it's tempting even now. His voice has all the rumblings of an impending avalanche. Votes are in and option 1 wins. Do you want me to look after this? Would you? Donner asks in surprise. I mean, this all started when they said I'd been fouling the river, that it went all nasty on account of me. Now any damn fool who steps outside of town and walks upriver can see the whole stretch of it like that. But plenty of people don't bother to look, and they just take their word for it. Mainly because the Winthrops pay for their drinks. This last slander is just cruel. The man takes a deep breath. The veins in his neck bulge beneath a layer of muscle that stiffens like a granite slab. Then that tension subsides as the hot breath leaves him at last. But I don't rightly know what you can do about it, he says, gives a shrug of broad shoulders. If you could make it rain and flush the river, that'd be great. If you could talk to the Winthrops and get them to back off, that'd be fine. If you head upriver, see if some damn beaver or something has stuffed the flow, well, that'd do nicely too. I need a coin flip because we have a two-way tie between options 1 and 2, the Akamura. I'm sorry, 1 and 3. 1 and 3.
Heads is 1, tails is 3. Heads.
Heads, so that's 1?
Yes.
Alright, I'll talk to the Winthrops first, see if they'll see reason. Good luck with that, Donner scoffs, because I tried everything I know and they won't quit. The evening star is a little sparse tonight. A game of faro in the back has attracted a trio of rough prospectors. Those gather at a table beneath a painting of sailing ships in a distant rocky harbor, but not one pays that grand sight any mind and instead keeps their eyes fixed upon the next turn of the cards. At the bar, the whole length of it has made to resemble the prow of a ship. A pair of dancing girls sip idly from chipped cups. The chips help them tell what's theirs and what belongs to a customer, so that the watered-down brew doesn't pass to the wrong lips. Interesting. The two women wear their sleek dress as well, and the silky cloth practically shines in the bright lamp light. At a table far from the dance floor, a small gathering is centered about 2 men, brothers without a doubt. Harold Harry Winthrop sports a mighty handlebar mustache that he has waxed to a bright sheen. His suit is a snug fit that hides nearly all the blotches he's earned as a tanner. Above a stiff collar, his sun-dark skin runs right up to endlessly squinting eyes. His brother, Larry, if you recall correctly, is the other man in miniature. Still handsome and clean-shaven for that matter, but his hands have already acquired a dark brown cast from the family's labor. Larry nudges his brother as he notes your gaze. The elder Winthrop turns his squinting gaze your way and then cracks a smile of yellowed teeth. "Marshal, what brings you by?" Harry asks politely. "Votes are in and option 3 wins. I heard you had a funny story to tell." "That I do," Harry replies and motions for his brother to pour you a drink. "It starts one winter's night when the chill dipped down low and the favorite cow of our well-known butcher pushed her way inside his house to get out of the cold. Now the butcher was passed out drunk from drinking 2 whole buckets of beer the night before, so he can't tell Cain from Abel. People nearby begin to grin in anticipation of what is coming. This is the one they've heard before and liked. The cow got warm, but it also got hungry. It tried a few things, but none was tasty. Then the heifer got close to the bed and caught a whiff of trouser. Tasty trouser. It started chewing, and the butcher, well, he was still passed out drunk. The joke proceeds, messily, to be exactly what you expect. A long, vicious slur. Votes are in and option 3 wins. We are not taking we are not taking his joke for what he thinks it is. That's slander. Is it? Harry asks rhetorically. Well, then what do you mean to do about it? I mean, is there a fine attached? Votes are in, and we have a 2-way tie between option 2 and option 3, so the Akamura is going to flip a coin.
2 is heads, 3 is tails.
I always drop them whenever
Heads.
I spin them like that. All right, heads. So the standard is $5. Awfully steep price for a good and true story. But I'll pay to tell it every time, Harry remarks as he tugs out a gold coin that gleams in the firelight and flips it to you. Votes are in and option 2 wins. We're going to make out a receipt for the payment. Honor very slightly increased. Since Harry clearly isn't going to stop slandering Jeff Donner, you'll have to solve the river problem, assuming that there is a solution short of a long, hard rain. It is therefore time to take a ride. Votes are in, and option 3 wins. Ben Carson might be driving his herd nearby. The cowboy, his rifle, would be good company. Forgot about Ben Carson. You set out and follow the track of a big herd as best you can. When a splash of rain muddles things up, you nevertheless keep on. At last you ascend a ridge and spy a great herd of cattle milling together like a field of shifting wheat in the midst of a green valley below. Half a dozen cowboys keep the steers together as they start to move further on down to where the grass hasn't cropped yet. Votes are in and option 3 wins. We wait on the ridge in plain sight. Soon enough, one of them cowboys catches sight of you, signals to the others. Two wranglers then detach themselves from their duties to ride out and meet you. One of them is a rough strip of a weathered leather pushing on dourly in years. Wandering gray hairs peek out from beneath a broad-brimmed hat with a single gold coin sewn on top. The other, thankfully, is Ben Carson. The older man spits off to the side as he gets close and takes a long look at you. Who are you, fella, and what brings you by? I got answers to half that, David. This is Marshal James Dinglepinger, Carson says as he tips his hat. So what brings you up here, my friend? David blinks and looks at you with fresh eyes. This is the guy from the watering hole? The one who agitated things? Ah, that's nice. Our reputation precedes us. Votes are in and option 3 wins. You make us sound important. Regardless, I need to talk to your man here. Need to, the older man considers. If it weren't for that tin star you're sporting, I'd tell you to ride off and leave us be. That's how things are with David Moore and his men. As it is, I'll be right over here, listening for more gunfire. Carson waits patiently until his boss is a discreet distance away before he turns to you. Something must be important to bring you all the way out here. The cowboy listens politely as you fill him in on the plan, the travel, and what you might find at the end of things. The river especially seems to catch his interest, as well as the slander of a man who does not deserve it. As things wind up and you begin your pitch, he puts a hand on your arm. I get you. This is the right thing to do, he says, and then tosses his head toward the waiting trail boss. Just give me a bit to clear with David there and we'll head on out. Alas, things just aren't that easy. The trail boss waggles a finger at Carson when the cowboy tries to talk his way through things. Ben, your wife is heavy with child. Your wife heavy with child. Yeah, it should have been is. If I recall, you promised her you would stay close and I'd let you promise. What? And I'll let you keep that promise? Some weird verbiage. Anyway, Carson looks away to the immutable mountains and says softly, she'll understand. David gives a decided frown at that and eases closer. Maybe, but you also signed up for a hitch here with me, and that's what I'm going to get from you. Big Bell ain't no charity. If you want to shirk that, if you want to go back on your word, well, I can't stop you. Votes are in and option 3 wins. David, you know that if a river or dam is obstructed, the torrent that might eventually be unleashed could be hazardous in the extreme. Dang it, David sighs. I can't never argue with the greater good, fella. And the Gomorites do need fresh water the same as the righteous. Gomorites? Like Sodom and Gomorrah Gomorites?
Yeah, because they're Mormons.
But you'd think the high and mighty J.T. Preston would see the warning the Lord has sent and look to tending the land instead of spoiling it. It takes no time at all for Carson to get back in the saddle. With a wave, he says goodbye to his fellow cowboys and heads out by your side. Yay, we have a buddy! +1 NPC. The ride north takes days. Thankfully, the river proves easy enough to follow. The tributaries are drying out to the point of being muck instead of mud, and there is nothing to distract you from the proper course. Along the way, you get to talking with Carson for some time as the two of you follow the turgid river. Carson proves to be an excellent companion. Whether by cook fire or riding alongside, he always has a kind word when things are smooth and advice when things get rough. Eventually, he begins to talk about the ever-present ridges and foothills. I like Ben Carson. I declare him best friend. Riding into the mountains can be a thing all its own, Carson relates as you eye a particularly steep ridge. Up is easier for a horse. They'll leap and lunge all the way to the top if you want. Down, though, that gets tricky. Get off balance and you'll both spill bad. Best thing to do, other than making certain you have your saddle set just so, is to let the horse have its head. He knows what he's doing. Don't try to get him to meander a bit sideways, thinking that'll be easier. Riding greatly increased. That makes sense. I mean, the horse is going to want to survive too, so the horse is going to know how to get down there. Huh. Neat. At last, the river becomes a constant stream of cloudy water that steadily carves its way through a muddy trench. Instead of parched browns, grass and trees add a bit of green along the banks. Indeed, at one bend in the river, you find a bevy of thick bushes, heavy with pure white flowers and lush red fruit. Thimbleberries, the distant and delicious cousin of eastern raspberries. My wife Millie makes jam out of these, Carson notes fondly, and pies, too. The berry bushes shift tantalizingly in an unseen luft of breeze. Votes are in, and we have a tie between option 1 and option 4 of the Akamura, so please flip a coin. The fans are, or TC rather, is really begging for option 4, so he wants tails for this.
1 is heads, tails is 4.
Right.
Shit.
Well, that's what I get for cursing you that you dropped, or that I dropped the coin.
Heads.
It is heads. So option 1, we climb down off the horse and gather berries. We take the boring option, but that's okay. It's
Betties!
safer. Yes, Betty's. You slide on down and saunter over to the bushes. Dozens and dozens of berries wait, but all but eager to be plucked. Carson pauses. What? He's missing words. Edit your work better, buddy. Carson pauses to retrieve his rifle. It's spelled wrong, but okay. It's a pity that Thimblebear, and there shouldn't be a comma after rifle. You should, God, I'm sorry. I'm probably a dick. I can't help but see grammatical mistakes.
No, they are there.
Well,
they are
and
plentiful.
I write, and literally have over a decade of professional writing experience, so it bothers me.
And, it's a good story, but not very well edited.
Yeah. Anyway. Carson pauses to retrieve his rifle. It's a pity that thimbleberries don't keep well. If you bump about them, they make their own jam before you can say, then something brown and big rises up from amidst the berry bushes. A grizzly bear with more than a smattering of dark juice along its massive paw. It gives a low growl as it spies you, then drops down and comes on like a runaway wagon. A rifle barks as Carson takes a shot at the massive beast. The round scours through its neck, sends hair and blood flying. The bear is not amused and stalks toward the pair of you. Oh, shit. Okay, we have...
Whoa, we're halfway there. Whoa! Running from a bear. I pushed you down. Accidentally, I swear. Whoa! Eaten by a bear. You were eaten by a bear. I can't remember whose joke that was. Let me find it.
Oh, that wasn't original?
No, God, I wish that was original, but I am not that smart.
You're also a little sharp. I was surprised.
Well,
Your voice isn't warmed up.
I haven't sang at all today or yesterday, so...
I know. You need to sing more for the channel. Anyway, choose 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 in the chat, because that song is staying in. So the votes are in, and Chris Simmons says vote for because we may as well enjoy our demise. And TC agrees with that. So, yeah, we're just gonna wrestle that bear, because this'll be good. You rush the beast. Surprise is on your side right up until it swats you to the ground and rips you apart. Your life flashes before your eyes as the bear mauls you into little chunks. Welp, this is not how our story ends. We're gonna return to the start of the bear scene. Okay, so here we are at the start of the bear scene again, we are at the berries. So, once more, how would you guys like to respond to finding the berries? 1, 2, 3, or 4? Votes are in, and overwhelmingly, we are going to pull out our rifle and shoot in the air.
And then I pulled out my gun!
You know, I was sad Sparkless wasn't here to do that, so I'm glad you picked up the slack. A thunderclap erupts from your rifle and briefly eclipses the burble of the nearby river. You really like doing that, don't you? Carson notes wryly. Something big and brown rises from the midst of the berry bushes. A mighty grizzly bear, jaw stained dark with juice, turns toward you. A flash of long teeth fills its massive jaw. Your rifle comes up and sights down on the mighty but unaware grizzly bear. You know you'll get one aimed shot before things get bad. Best to make it count. Aim for the head, Carson whispers over to you as he steadies his own rifle. Right where the skull seems the flattest. The round will burrow deep in there. We do this on 3? Okay, votes are in, and option 1 wins. We do aim for the head. You take aim with deliberation and squeeze the trigger. But at the last moment, your horse shifts nervously, and the round merely carves a bloody gouge. With an angry roar, the bear lurches about and comes on like a runaway locomotive. Your horse rears and you go flying. Somewhere off to the side, a rifle barks and then barks again. Head ringing, you scramble back to your feet and are engulfed by shadow of the bear as it looms overhead, black as midnight amid a gout of swirling dust. Then the rifle cracks yet again, and the bear staggers as the side of its head suddenly runs with blood. Before it recovers, you hurriedly mount back up. Carson, a gout of fresh smoke rising from the barrel of his rifle, fires again and again until the two of you are well away from the fearsome beast. Carson follows your lead as you ride off and remembers to breathe only when the two of you are far away. Nicely done, the cowboy comments earnestly. Really? We missed our shot and then fell off a horse. I don't know how we did that nicely, but okay. Before long, you are riding into a brisk evening wind and looking to make camp for the evening. Man, it's a good thing we brought Carson along. That would have been terrifying if we hadn't. Votes are in and option 1 wins. Getting away from that bear tells me I need to keep my eyes open next time. Survival increased. Dawn breaks as you ride north along the river. It is an uneasy time given that brush with the bear and all. You shudder to think what would have happened if you weren't able to escape. Well, we know what would have happened if we weren't able to escape. Near a particularly sharp bend in the river, Carson pauses and cocks his head to the side. You hear that? Gotta be the rushing river, but why isn't it rushing here? You have no answer, but soon you see a dark silhouette atop the nearby foothills, some kind of walled camp. Below the camp lies a crude bulwark dam that pools the river's flow and diverts it to mining. Hydraulic mining. Hundreds, if not thousands, of gallons of water spray down a hillside, cull loose tons of dirt and rock that slurry down to waiting sluices below. There, a dozen men tend screens that let the lighter parts of things pass but trap the heavier sorts behind. They're hunting for silver or gold, and they're diverting the river's flow to do it. I've heard they were doing this sort of thing in California, Carson notes, but I guess they came out here too. Votes are in, and option 1 wins unanimously. You ride toward the camp. Somewhere up there must be a supervisor who is able to tell you what's going on. The ride up to the mining camp takes you up a well-worn trail. More than a few portions are partially paved with stones sunken deep where mud has dried. Some turns of the switchbacks have been shored up with wood to keep the earth in place, but even so you can see slashes down the side of the hill where something heavy has fallen down the whole way. The camp itself is surrounded by a 6-foot stockade of logs lined with prickle brush. Periodic loopholes have been carved through to let rifles poke out. Indeed, you catch sight of one of those dark barrels doing just that. Carson whistles softly as he regards the fortifications. They're serious about staying. I'd guess that the Shoshone came to visit them one night. Okay, votes are in at the last second. Newcomer Robert has broken the tie. So, by visit, you mean steal some horses, make mischief, start fire. Oh, this is a conversation loop. Hard to say what exactly happened here, but judging from the height of the wall, I expect the Shoshone might have killed a man, Carson considers. Seen that sometimes. And since the conversation loop, we'll just go with the second most requested option. Has your Big Bell Ranch had trouble with the Indians? Not really, no. Carson shakes his head. David, you remember Mr. Moore, don't you? Well, he may not look it, but he can be charming when he wants, and what he wanted, a couple years past, is to be friendly with the red men. We've shared bushels of greens and corn, steaks too. Sometimes David offers steel as gifts. That's worked out well so far. Last month, when this pretty black colt wandered off, it was pretty clear that an Indian had taken it, and Sam, the owner, was hollering for a lynching, and he didn't really care who so long as it was a redskin. A sudden tightness grips your throat as you recall the tug of the hangman's noose. Some people don't understand how the law works, and then innocent people get strung up. Carson keeps on. Thank God the chief walks in silence was quick to... Oh, I said that all sarcastically because I assumed that was a sarcastic phrase. Anyway... Thank God the chief walks in silence was quick to put things to right, and brought back the colt himself. David's been talking about making it a gift to the tribe when the autumn rains come, just to show there were no hard feelings. Votes are in and option 3 wins. Have you met many Indians? A few, Carson says, and while some of them are what you'd expect, some of them aren't. There's good people and bad people in this world. Same for saints, Gentiles, and Indians. Oh, I like Carson. Well, we better get up on there. Get on up there. The camp's gate is a simple thing with just a wagon pulled across a gap in the stockade. A big fella sits atop it with a white bandage tight apart. What? With a white bandage tight around, I guess, a partially shaved head and a rifle in hand. He squints over, as though expecting to see you vanish as you draw near. What you doing? Lost? He asks with a distinctive Midwestern burr. I'm George, by the way. Okay, during the voting, TC mentioned that this is a conversation loop, so we'll just take this from question 1 through question 7 in order. Who are you again? I'm George, he answers, and gives a reflexive nod at his own words. I'm going to executive order this one. Good to meet you, George. Same, he says and continues to nod. What is this place? This is the Red Ribbon Mining Camp, he replies. How did you get that bandage? Fixing the dam. It sprung a leak, he replies. Have you had trouble with Indians? Yep, he says. Thanks. Boy, you are a stunning conversationalist. Who is your boss? That'd be Admonsen's, he replies. I'm not pressing this, but I'd still like to get inside. Oh, sure, George nods. I thought you were just being friendly. He hops down from the wagon and pushes it aside with an ox's sinew. Oh, I should have left that one up to you guys. Sorry. That one I should have left up to you. Whether we, get aggressive with him or not. Anyway. The camp beyond proves to be a strangely tidy thing. The tents are pitches in neat rows. Paths have been stomped, and some parts are even cobbled together with rocks. But the heart of things exceeds all that, for beside a large barn lies a handsome little cabin whose white-painted exterior seems to glow in the sun, while bright flowers line row upon row along the outside in a vibrant rainbow of colors. A woman steps from the shadowed doorway to the cabin into the sunlight, a plump little bird with long brown curls of vibrant hair. She is all but covered from the neck to toe in soft blue calico, though you would not dare call her soft, for those wary eyes watch your approach, and her calloused fingers tap the hilt of a knife that is neatly balanced at her belt. I am Mrs. Anya Admonsen. Who are you, stranger? She asks. Votes are in, and option 1 wins. I'm the law, that's who. You're the new marshal, Dingle Pinger? Wait, what? We didn't introduce our names. Whatever. Well, that is Providence, she notes, then gestures to a little table set off in the shade. Allow me to summon my husband, Randall, and we'll discuss what you want and what we need. Votes are in, and option 1 wins. We have some questions while we wait. I assume this is going to be a dialogue loop. Give me a moment, Anya asks, and then beckons over George from the gate. In a low voice, she gives out orders to which he nods repeatedly, returns and hoists a red flag bearing a single black stripe. There, things are in motion. All right. What can you tell me about this camp? The camp is part of a mining operation that is run by my husband Randall and myself. My father, Edward Dalligan Esquire, tends to purely paper matters back in San Francisco, she says. And as you can see, this corporation is a family concern. Behind her, the red supper flag ripples in the mountain breeze. Why did you raise the flag? Oh, that is a supper flag, or it had been originally. I would set it up so that men know when it was time to come to supper. Now we use it whenever I need Randall back here in camp, she explains. Carson remains silent and still as if he were carved of stone. Anya glances over. Can I get you anything? Water? Lemonade? I would not be adverse to a cool drink, Carson admits. How long have you been mining here? In the area, 4 years, since 1864. In this particular spot, only a few months. We go where the gold is, she points out. In the distance, a low thunder can be heard, though not the kind that sets your hairs to prickling like last time. Ha ha. I'd like to ask about the dam. That is more my husband's purview than mine, Anya shrugs, and I would prefer it if we waited for him before discussing it at length. Suffice to say, it provides us with water for the pumps and sluices. Carson sips a cup of lemonade and tips his hat favorably to Anya. Why do you call it red ribbon mining? She hides a small smile behind her hand. It was my dowry to my husband. When we were married, it came with a red ribbon. Okay. You put a red ribbon on a mining company? Not on the company, no, Anya notes with a hint of amusement. I don't get it either. I must be an idiot. At the gate, George waves to someone well below. The thunder of hooves grows closer. Definitely not a storm, at least not one with lightning in it. How much gold have you extracted? That would be proprietary information, she indicates pointedly. Carson finishes his lemonade, passes the cup back to Anya. How many men do you employ? 19 men and 1 woman, our cook. Most mining establishments have more, and so would we if the Indians had not attacked. At the gate, George hops down and slowly pushes the blocking cart aside. Your stockade seems very stout. It has to be. We have had trouble with Indians raiding, stealing livestock, and setting things afire. Now they try and bushwhack us for coming to or from the site. Troubling to say the least. The supper flag snaps in a freshening breeze. Can you tell me more about the Indian attacks? Not really. All I saw were arrows and a tent burning. My husband knows more about them than I. Just beyond the stockade, a horse whinnies amid a clatter of stones. That is all I have to ask. Good. My husband shall be here shortly, I expect, she tells you, and then we can discuss other things. All right. Anya strides out to meet the riders as they trot on into the camp. The man at the lead, a tall fellow with a cap of golden hair, swings down readily to greet her. Despite more than a few mud flecks upon his shirt, she nonetheless eases in close and all but demands a kiss that he readily gives. Only when that is done do they exchange soft whispers and then step toward you. James Dinglepinger, I would like you to meet my husband, Randall Admonson, Anya says with a husky tone. Randall eyes you for a long moment before he extends a hand. Hello, Marshal. Anya claps her hands lightly, and then tosses her head toward the lee of the little house amid the flowers. Why don't we discuss things in the shade? Anya pours you another cup of lemonade. Her husband takes a seat opposite you and idly flicks off a bit of the dried mud that had stained his shirt. It could almost be an idyllic homestead except for the sprawl of tents beyond the flowers and the jets of water down in the valley. We've been having some troubles, Indian troubles, Anya begins slowly. No doubt you have noticed the stockade. And gun, Randall puts in. Man with gun in hand, not find gold. What? Man with gun in hand, not find gold. Is Randall dumb? Or was he just being goofy? I don't know. Anyway. So
maybe he's foreign?
Oh, could be. Regardless. So, how do we respond to Randall? Please vote 1, 2, or 3 in the chat. Votes are in, and we have a 2-way tie between 1 and 3. So the Akamura is going to flip for us.
1 is heads, 3 is tails. Tails, 3.
So we go with, what do you think I can do about that? We captured one of the savages a few days ago, Anya says. Randall eases forward. We trade. Him for peace. Is good plan, yes? Okay. This seems like a conversation loop. I'm going to just take this one over. So you've got an Indian here in camp? We shackle, Randall says, then points off toward one of the many tents. Can he walk? He's in fine shape, Anya tells you. Just a little stiff, I imagine. We feed every day, Randall says. How did you capture him? He tried to enter camp, Anya says. He came over the wall? No, walk to gate, Randall says. Then we grab. Stop being a dick, people. Did he struggle? No, is why he lived, Randall replies. It is the Christian way, Anya puts it. Of course, we could not just let him go or wander around camp. That is why he is restrained. What do the Indians want? Both Admonsons give an unconvincing shrug. You wait a long moment that grows longer still until at last the pair grows uneasy. At last, Anya flicks a glance to her husband. They want us to stop mining. Something about not being able to fish the river. I did not pay too much attention to all that Indian talk. We mining by right, Randall says. We have claim, we mine, that is all. I need to discuss the dam with you. If it breaks when then the water will rush on down and could devastate and kill many people, including the people of Preston Springs. Why you want talk that? Randall asks pointedly. The dam is not illegal, Anya puts in. Votes are in, and option 3 wins. The Admonsons really haven't given you all the facts, and they don't seem likely to either. The two of them wait patiently for you to comply with their carefully couched demand. Wow, I don't even have to see that one out. That is definitely the majority. Votes are in, and almost everyone is being very forthright in wanting to whip out their gun. This will be decided by blood and iron. You skin your pistol out and let it belch forth hell. Jesus. Surprise is all you've got, but that starts things sweet. Mrs. Edmondson bolts for cover. The fools who come running to see what is wrong get theirs next. Randall puts up a good show, but though he's firing, he's not really aiming, and soon he's running too. Especially after Carson yanks his rifle out of its pasture and lets the bullets graze where they want. Oh, that's a beautiful line. Votes are in and option 1 wins. Don't stop to reload. Use the fallen prospector's guns and keep firing. Gunfighting slightly increased. You scoop up a stray pistol, but the thing jams after the first shot.
Lame.
The next cooks off 2 chambers at the same time, and that hurls the weapon from your hand. At last you seek cover to reload the one weapon you can trust. A sudden thunder booms out and agony races along your side, health decreased. But you close up the chamber on a last round and send Randall spinning down. With their foreman down, though still breathing, the prospectors and Anya swiftly surrender. From the wreckage of the camp strides a figure whose cheekbones could carve stone. His brow is a broad thing adorned by... I'm sorry, I'm laughing because I'm just thinking of how sudden we just started opening fire. It was lovely. His brow is a broad thing adorned by close-cropped midnight hair, the Indian to which the Edmondsons alluded. A once fine tunic and trousers are long, rumpled about his lean frame, and around his ankle rattles an iron cuff and a broken chain. Despite all that, his features are set with a strangely placid calm. The Indian strolls forward, hands empty and inviting to be clasped in thanks to you. Votes are in and option 3 wins. Do you speak English? You mean with syntax, grammar, articles, and adverbs? The Indian cocks an eyebrow. The answer is yes, dear Mustique.
And this is where I break character and point at him and just go, nerd!
Votes are in and option 1 wins. Mistake? A Nez Perce name that is wholly inappropriate for you. Whereas you can call me Yiska. That is a lot of options. That is probably a conversation loop. What exactly does Mustek mean? Mustek is a cheeky Nez Perce word when you get down to the nuts and bolts of it, Yiska says and flashes a small smile. As for the meaning, let us wait on that until I know you better. Votes are in, and option 2 wins. I accept your terms. I'm glad we could come to this arrangement, Yiska nods agreeably. You're strangely well educated, because apparently I'm a racist. Indeed, Yiska says honestly, even amongst whites, I would seem to be advantaged by my East Coast education. Lawyer, of course. Lawyer? Yes. Surprised? So was I, Yiska chuckles. But that tale can wait, I think. Do you just go around naming people? When they carry only old names, it is a right to give them new one, Yiska notes. After all, one does not wear the clothes of a child forever. Wow, that's actually kind of deep. What does Yiska mean? It is a Navajo word that alludes to a hope they hold. You see, my elders sent me out to grasp up what they could not, Yiska says, but I fear I have fallen short of their expectations. What brought you to this camp specifically? I came to deliver an injunction, lawfully signed, ordering the cessation of hydraulic mining in this valley. The public good is at stake, you see, for the river here may change course or overflow and flood out previously dry regions.
Oh, he's calling you chipmunk.
Okay, that means towns get flooded and people get killed. I know because there have been similar troubles in California, though the courts out there are bribed subtly and otherwise to look the other way, while gold is extracted hand over fist, Yiska states without pause. Oh, please excuse my diatribe. This is my first important case, and it has not gone according to plan. He subtly raises an eyebrow your way. Tell me of your people. We would be here for days, so let me sum up instead, Yiska answers. I am Niue, the tribe and the whites call the Shoshone. We have lived in these valleys since before the white men came to bind us up with words that made little sense and promises he refused to keep. It starts with the Treaty of 1851, roughly 17 years ago, and I fear I would put the both of us to sleep for days if I were to continue, Yiska concludes. Votes are in and option 1 wins. I need your help with something. What now? Yiska asks as he glances around the smoldering camp. Ah, wait. I am to bear witness. Carson murmurs out the last of a prayer beside the bodies of the fallen. His rifle is stuck, barrel down in the dirt. Wait, what? Barrel down, in the dirt, barrel down. beside the rows of the deceased. I shall not see heaven. Oh, that kind of hurt. I like Ben. I don't want him upset. Since we're role-playing someone religious, I'm gonna just executive decision the second one. I hope and pray that some good may yet come of this. It is in the hands of the Lord as always, Carson sighs with all his soul as he falls into step beside you. Let us hope he is merciful to his wayward followers. The Edmondsons are right where you left them. Randall moans softly from where he had been flung during the fighting. Anya kneels beside him and strokes his dirty hair. When she looks up at you, a horde's worth of vengeance brims behind your eyes. Votes are in, and option 2 barely wins. You are all probably wondering why I've called you together today. The battered Edmondsons stare at you with a silence that could make a knife seem friendly. Votes are in, and option 3 overwhelmingly wins. Let's discuss what comes next. For you, for me, for everyone. The Edmondsons tense at the implications, their venomous fangs withdrawn for the moment. The camp is within your bloody possession, but that doesn't make things right by itself. A great many prospectors died during the night raid. That means someone is going to be interested in what happened here. Order and law decreased. There are also other questions of fines and confiscation to consider. You yourself could readily skim a portion of whatever is taken from the Red Ribbon Mining Company. Votes are in, and option 1 and option 4 are tied, so the Yuckimer is going to flip a coin here.
Heads is 1, tails is 4.
Okay. You almost lost that coin. You did lose the coin. You just threw the coin halfway across the living room. Oh my god. Flipping coins is hard. Do you see it? Did you lose the coin entirely? No. The Yakamura said no, she misplaced it temporarily. Tails! It's tails, so we're gonna dig and fill some graves. As you raise your pistol up, Carson shoves himself bodily in the way. You can't do this! It's not right! Oh no. Oh shit. So we're gonna just try to execute everyone? Is that what it meant? Oh shit. And now Carson is in our way. Oh god. Alright, votes are in, and option 3 wins. Lower the gun and reconsider. Heat of the moment is when you need to listen to the whispers of our better nature, Carson tells you. No man is without sin, but that doesn't mean we should give in. You take a deep breath and consider everything again. Okay, let's discuss what comes next again. But now, option 1, 2, or 3 in the chat. So 4 is locked out, so just vote 1, 2, or 3. Votes are in, and option 3 wins. Every member of Red Ribbon Mining will stand trial in Elko. The Edmondsons gape in disbelief as you tell them what will happen. Anya in particular is aghast. Stand trial for what? It is you who attacked us! Her husband leans over and speaks softly in her ear for a moment. When they part, they are silent, with a steady gaze fixed upon you. They must have caught the glimmer of your badge in the sun. Votes are in, and unanimously everyone decides that all local assets of the Red Ribbon Mining Company shall be held until such time as any local damages are paid in full. That's a lot of legal talk for stealing, Anya says flatly. Thief! Everyone thief! Randall mutters to himself. But there is not much they can do about things except pack their personal bags and depart, with all their gunshot wounds. Votes are in, and option 3 wins, as TC says, let's not be completely evil. We are going to leave it all for Yiska to distribute. Honor slightly increased. Ben Carson sighs and pats his steed. Now that we're done here, David will be moving the herd along a parched stretch, and I'd best get back with him and the others out of Big Bell. He ponders you a moment. I don't know if I can tell him about the camp. That raid. So many dead in the night. I'm going to hell, and you are the devil that sent me. Do not come looking for me, ever, for I am not to be found. He glares at you coldly, then turns about and rides away. The last you see of him is a distant silhouette against the sun. Aww, I miss you already, Ben.
Lol, bye! You coming to my sleepover next week? Cool.
You spelled that Kewl, didn't you?
Yes.
Is
there any other way to spell it?
The shadows lengthen over Preston Springs as you ride close. The aches of the trail promise to pass away, and soon. At town's edge lies Jeff Donner's butcher shack. The big man himself, his usually bloody apron wrapped up tight, can be seen inside. He gives a little dispirited wave. Apparently the fine you imposed on Harry Winthrop failed to more than slow the rumor campaign against the butcher. Aww. A figure steps out of the shadow of Donner's butcher shack. Sunlight glints off a gold pocket watch, ivory cufflinks, and a sheriff's star. J.T. Preston has come to greet you, and not alone either. From the soft flap of dusters in the wind, at least one of his 4 deputies is just out of sight, and likely armed to the teeth. Votes are in and option 2 wins. Isn't it a bit hot out for you? No, I like a bit of heat, Preston answers back honestly. Speaking of which, care to discuss what happened out at Red Ribbon? The wind shifts a little and sets the wood boards of the nearby building to creaking ever so softly. A tumbleweed rolls past and swirls of dust chase it down the street. He pauses a moment to ease out a cigar and contemplate smoking it. I'm reliably informed about many things around here. Now, do you want to tell me what happened out in the hills? Be brief, I don't need the blow-by-blow, just the fireside version. 2 of Preston's deputies push off from the lee of the butchery and settle in on either side of Preston. Votes are in and option 2 wins. Tell the truth. He clearly already knows it. Preston nods as you relate the bare bones of what happened out there as you lead your horse into town. That takes more than a little while, and at the end you are standing in front of the Motherlode Saloon. So the Red Ribbon mining camp got hit, Anya and Randall Admonson were taken hostage, and a great many of their prospectors were killed. Have to say that's bad for business. So the Indians looted the camp, but good. Even pried the nails out. Kind of makes me wish I had seen some of that wild blood in me. So, did we lie then, or is he just rewording it to be,
I think he's rewording it.
Okay. Somewhere inside the saloon, a guitar strums to life. A raucous...
Coiny, you came back!
A raucous chorus rises up of men looking to wet their throats, and others eager to take their gold. Preston hardly seems to notice, though. He stares off into the distance. See you when I see you, he says, at last, and then he turns and walks away with his deputies in tow. With that, he and his deputies walk away to leave you alone in the street. And that concludes Chapter 3. So, because this is supposedly going to take longer, I'm going to revisit what we're going to do. So we may continue this game next week on the stream. We may not. I'll have some staff meetings with the Akamura and possibly Sparkless, and we will decide what to do. But at least for now, that will conclude the stream, and it is far too late for me to do an after party, unfortunately. I have to work tomorrow, and so does the Akamura, so we have to go do our nightly ablutions. So, unfortunately, that will be the end of the whole stream. But usually, if we are doing these streams, we have after parties. That's why if you're watching this from the archive, you should join us every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube, with usually the link to enter the stream is up by Wednesday, so you can bookmark it and ready yourself for it. And if not, it's always on the front page of the channel 12 hours before showtime. And TC requests looking at stats, that's a good idea. We are badly wounded and broke with a 63% order, 61% honor, 50% law, so that's gone down. That's how lawful we were for a while. So I guess now we're pure neutral at the moment? I guess we're a little bit... I guess we're kind of neutral good. Anyway, with a 15% notoriety. Plus our stats are pretty decent, 30%-ish all around other than legal, because we're jerks. And Carson is still at a 65% influence, which is kind of strange. He pretty much hates us at this point, and will never, review your present place in history. Whatever. Save Marshal Dingo Fingers ending in Chapter 3. Alright. Checkpoint save successful. So we will go from here. Next time we revisit the game, it may be next week. We may take a break from it for a while. We will discuss that. But anyway, once more, if you are watching this from the archive, please come every Sunday at 8 p.m. Eastern right here on YouTube, because we stream every week. Sometimes different games, sometimes not. But we are going to try to eventually get back to different games every week, because to me that's the most fun. And it lets me show off some one-shot games that I don't want to do a series for. But for now, both watching... Well, tell you what, those of you who are live, I'm going to Those of you who are live, I'll stick around for 5 minutes if you want to chat. But those of you who are watching from the archive, thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next week for another stream.
Bye!